I was once told if you have nothing nice to say, then say nothing at all. This could apply to this review, or the entire production staff of this film could learn. Kangaroo Jack does nothing for anyone. We gain no new knowledge or meet any interesting characters. Instead, we get 90 minutes of nonsense before we find out the age-long question. What happens when a kangaroo tries to eat a spicy jawbreaker? This movie is a waste of everyone's time, money, and thought process. But I won't go as far as to say they wasted my time. The plot is super simple, but no one remembers it despite owning a copy of the DVD as a kid. Two friends, Charlie, who's a hairdresser and his stepdad is a mob boss, and his dumb-witted friend who shouts out random quips like that's all there is to making movies funny, Lewis, ends up making a horrible decision where they basically lead every cop in town back to Charlie's mob boss dad's warehouse. His stepdad is played by Christopher Walken, of course, who is so irate that these two morons have caused so much damage to the family business, he decides they need to take a little trip to Australia to deliver $50,000 in cash to a man named Mr. Smith. The whole point is that if they came through on this delivery, they would have ended up paying Mr. Smith to kill them. See, mob boss daddy wants these two whacked. Then there's the kangaroo, who just wedged itself into the plot. When Charlie and Lewis make it to Australia, and they're driving through the Outback Steakhouse trying to pretend they're authentic, the two hit a kangaroo. Lewis thinks it's funny to put his lucky red jacket on it and take photos. Of course, the $50,000 for Mr. Smith is in the jacket pocket, and the kangaroo gets up and runs away with the money. So we spend the rest of the movie with these two losers and one attractive girl trying to catch a kangaroo. What I've been reading about the plot with this film, and why it feels like there are actually two different storylines running through, was the original film was titled Down and Under, and it was intended to be a rated R mob comedy about two dudes who were going to Australia to pay their own hitman, but when they did some screen tests for this cut, the audience didn't like it. So now we assume they'd make the correct adjustment for the next cut, which now it's a PG rated family fun comedy about two goofballs stuck in Australia chasing a silly CGI kangaroo. It's clearly the obvious choice to make here. People saw that this film was marketed towards family friendly, but no one actually went to the theaters to watch it. So yeah, it's not just a bad movie, it's a box office failure, and has become somewhat of a legend in the category of legendary failures.
So real.
What actually is a big problem with this movie here is there's a lot of adult content from the original intention of the film still in the movie. Charlie and Lewis have to walk across the desert to find help because their plane crashed. I know that's a loaded sentence. And they learn about mirages, and even showboat Charlie thinking he's in a new Jeep, but really he's playing in the sand. So when they happen upon this attractive woman, Jessie, Charlie makes the assumption that she's a mirage, and then fondles her breasts before Jessie knocks him out. You remember in all those family-friendly Disney classics where the characters sexually assault each other for the sake of a stupid joke about mirages? No? Me either. This scene didn't just piss me off as an avid film watcher, but it's a fucking insult to make a poor writing decision to help play up the comedy when there's nothing funny here. Mirages don't do that to people. That would be dehydration. The only way I'd be cool with jokes like this about mirages would be in animation format because you could break the rules there. Here, I'm watching two dudes just not know what or how to be funny from a script that probably reads like a second grade level. Another great family moment was in The Resolution, when the Australian police arrested a young Michael Shannon. Yes, that's Baby Zod, who screamed profanity at our main characters because he got caught by the police and we got our stupid jacket back. And that's the end of the movie.
At the time, pansy ass dead. You hear me? Dead! I'll slaughter you like veal!
Moving on, one of the praises from this film I read about was how good the CGI was on the kangaroo, which, by the way, his name is not Kangaroo Jack. It's Jackie Legs. Duh. They can't even get the movie's name right. The CGI on the guy is fine for standards of yesterday. We mostly get bust shots of the character, and if you look into his eyes, you can see the cold, dead misery of the overworked, underpaid employees trying to make sense of it. Why did they agree to keep working on this movie and make it more expensive and difficult than it was originally intended to be? Also, a fun fact, Disney did the CGI, and this would be the only non-Disney film they worked on. I also read that because of most of the marketing and posters for the film have Jackie Legs prominently in the front, people expected him to play a much larger role than the actual 5 minutes of screen time that he gets in the one sequence where Charlie dreams up Jackie, and this time he can talk, so that was a bummer. I give this film a 1 out of 5 stars. The story sucks, the acting sucks, and Jackie Legs isn't strong enough to carry this failure. So you may ask why 1 and not 0 stars. And it's because I was asked to find one good thing in this film, and I can confidently say that yes, there is an ending. No, it was because I was able to sit down for the whole 90 minutes and engage with the media. And though it is a piss poor story, I was able to follow it to the bitter end and learn what becomes of Charlie and Lewis, how they get rich, and Jess, the girl that Charlie assaulted, is now his wife. So like, it's all cool in the end, right? This film, for some reason, actually has a sequel, which is an all-animated 2D feature film about Jackie Legs coming to America and Charlie and Lewis trying to save him. When I decided I was going to make these reviews, I told myself I needed to have balance across the board. It can't all be good movies or bad movies. We need an even spread. But this film dips down so low that I have found a subterranean level I never wanted to know about. I'd ask you what your opinions on this film are, but I don't want to watch someone try and defend this waste. Thank you for watching. Bye.
And I can sing. I said a hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop, and you don't stop the rock to the bang bang boogie. Set up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie.
This is great.
See, I am Jackie Legs, and I'd like to say hello to the black, to the white Jackie.